Welcome to Utah Tonight, Utah's #1 garage-based news show. I'm your host, Michael Jolly. With Gary Herbert retiring after 11 years as governor, Utah voters have the chance to elect a new governor in 2020. And while the general election isn't until November, the real election is on June 30th, the date of the Republican primary. Because let's be honest, Utah is about as likely to elect a Democrat as Donald Trump is to shave his head. So with that in mind, this is a special gubernatorial election preview edition of Utah Tonight. So who are the Republicans who made it on the primary ballot via signatures and or the Republican convention? They are current Lieutenant Governor Spencer Cox, former Utah Governor Jon Huntsman Jr., former Speaker of the House Greg Hughes, and former Utah Republican Party Chairman Thomas Wright. And in case you missed the Utah Debate Commission's Republican gubernatorial debate, here is a brief recap.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Now let's take a look at each of the candidates. Let's start with Thomas Steal Yo Girl Wright. He's very handsome. Mr. Wright is the president and principal broker at Summit Sotheby's International Realty, a successful real estate brokerage with offices throughout Utah. Thomas is the son of Bob Wright, who, after serving as Utah Republican Party chair, ran for governor and ultimately lost to Democratic candidate Scott Matheson. Yes, Utah used to elect Democrats, believe it or not. Following in his father's footsteps, Thomas also served successfully as Utah Republican Party chair. As chair, Thomas attempted to persuade the party's state central committee to make some updates to the caucus convention system in order to prevent an outside group, Count My Vote, from changing the way the party nominated candidates. Since persuading the Republican state central committee to do anything productive is just about as difficult as convincing a toddler that regular naps are an important part of their health and well-being, the changes were never made. Count My Vote ran their ballot initiative, and the legislature eventually passed Senate Bill 54, creating an alternative path to the ballot and significantly weakening the influence of Republican delegates on the nominating process. By the way, why does the Republican Party's governing body have the same name as the governing body of the Soviet Communist Party? Maybe they should think about changing that name. Anyway, Wright tapped Congressman Rob Bishop early on as his LG. He was the first candidate to turn in the required 28,000 signatures to get on the ballot. He's a capable leader, but his biggest downside is he's just too handsome. I mean, look at that suit. You can learn more about Thomas Wright at wrightutah.com. I'm getting news that we have a breaking news alert from the U.S. Capitol, so let's check in with Representative Jerry Nadler. Jerry. We will check in with Representative Nadler in a few minutes while he gets his mask situated. Next up on our candidate list is Coppertone Greg Hughes. Hughes was a longtime member of the Utah House and finished up his legislative career as Speaker of the House. He's well known for fighting against Governor Herbert's Medicaid expansion plan and winning. In your face, Healthy Utah. He grew up in Pittsburgh, raised by a single mother. He and a business partner own a real estate development and property management business. He served as chairman of the board at UTA, and he's known for his bias toward action on tough issues, especially when he owns a piece of property nearby. Heyo! Hughes is the only candidate who opted for the convention-only path to the ballot, instead of gathering 28,000 signatures. He picked Washington County Commissioner Victor Iverson as his running mate. A key message on his campaign is that he was an original supporter of Donald Trump back in 2016, and he has attacked Spencer Cox for flip-flopping on his opposition to Trump. So if you're looking for an unabashed Donald Trump supporter, Greg Hughes is your guy. And you can learn more about Greg at greghughes.com. Next up is Jon Please Take Me Back Huntsman. Huntsman served as governor of Utah from 2005 to 2009, leaving to serve as ambassador to China shortly after beginning his second term. Huntsman was a popular governor and accomplished some big things during his brief tenure, including passing a flat income tax and removing the state sales tax on food. But one major failure of the Huntsman administration, in my eyes, is that despite claiming to be a fan of the Foo Fighters, Governor Huntsman failed to land a Salt Lake City tour stop while he was the governor. Another beef I have with Mr. Huntsman is his family. I mean, how can anyone be that attractive? My goodness gracious, it's ridiculous and not fair. Let's check in on Governor Huntsman and see how things are going on the campaign.
I'm isolated. I don't have a lot of friends.
Huntsman has picked Provo Mayor Michelle Kaufusi as his running mate, and together they're running on a platform of doubling our state economy and addressing mental health issues in the state. And Huntsman has promised that if he's elected again to serve as governor, he will share his skincare routine with all of us on Instagram. I'm really looking forward to that personally. You can learn more about Jon Huntsman at huntsman2020.com. And I'm getting word that Jerry is ready with that breaking news. Representative Nadler, go ahead. Thank you, Representative Nadler. Okay, so last up on our list is Spencer Hobby Farmer Cox. Spencer Cox grew up in Fairview in northern Sanpete County, where he still lives, and he commutes to the capital every day. Cox started his career as an attorney until his dad convinced him to come back home and work for the family business, a rural telecom company, and serve as VP and general counsel. Cox began his political career in 2005 when he was appointed to the Fairview City Council. The next year, he ran for mayor and won that. A couple of years into that term, he ran for county commissioner and won. And then in 2012, he ran for the Utah House, where he rose to prominence by being one of the first people to call for Attorney General John Swallow to resign. Much to the chagrin of the Greg Hughes opposition research team, Cox only served for one legislative session, which is not nearly long enough to dig up any dirt on him. And then he was picked by Governor Gary Herbert to serve as Utah's next lieutenant governor. Cox was the first candidate to enter the race for governor way back in May 2019. Several months later, all crap hit the fan, and Governor Herbert appointed Cox to chair Utah's COVID-19 task force. Cox said he would suspend campaigning to focus on the virus. In a recent debate, Cox criticized his opponents for being the ones who are really politicizing the coronavirus crisis.
The politicization of this disease is awful, and the only people playing politics with this disease are the people on this stage.
Au contraire, mon petit lieutenant governor. If you're not politicizing this, then why did you wear this mask with your official campaign colors on it while on official business? Busted. Greg Hughes, feel free to use that. Spencer Cox is kind of a big deal on Twitter, with more than 40,000 followers and 26,000 tweets under his belt. He loves the Utah Jazz, he loves farming, and he loves wearing that Eddie Bauer puff jacket. You can learn more about Spencer Cox at votecox.com. So there it is, the comprehensive voter guide you've all been waiting for. But seriously, this is an important election, and you should probably make sure you cast your vote, because this June, we're going to decide who our next governor is going to be for the next 4 to 12 years. Even liberal Democrat Jim DeBackus wants you to vote in the Republican primary, so listen to Jim and go vote. For Utah Tonight, I'm Michael Jolly.